What's going on? It's Javan Johnson here. You're watching episode number 62 of About 10 Minutes. And so on today's episode, I want to talk about commitment. Commitment is an important thing. It's important, to stay committed to the things that God has called us to do, regardless of the different challenges that we come into contact with. And so I want to start out with talking about our commitment to Jesus Christ. It's important that we have a genuine relationship, obviously, with Jesus Christ, putting him above everything else. I mean, sometimes we can be so focused on trying to not do certain things, in other areas of our lives, how to avoid certain sins or avoid this or that. But if we stay committed to Jesus Christ, it will help us in other areas of our lives. If you focus on Jesus Christ, and I'm not saying that we physically see Jesus Christ, but I'm saying if you focus on him like this, if you focus and you look in here, you look in there, if there's sin over there, you focus on Jesus Christ, it's going to be a lot harder to get into that sin because you know that Jesus is there. You know that you're trying to serve him, you're trying to honor him with your life. But what can happen is we start getting apart from Jesus Christ, we can start looking at other things, and then it can be easier to sin. If you think about certain times that you've gotten into sin, if we think about it honestly, we can look at it, okay, I responded this way because I responded out of my flesh. I didn't respond the way that Jesus Christ would want me to respond. I took my focus off of Jesus Christ, and this is where it got me. So, we can talk about different things, and I blog on a lot of different things, and we can talk about, okay, how do I avoid this certain sin? How do I avoid doing this? How do I avoid doing that? But the thing to focus on is Jesus Christ, to focus on staying committed to him, and that will help you to avoid certain things as a byproduct of you being focused on Jesus. And so, that's very big and very important for us to stay focused on Jesus Christ. And then from there, to really look at, okay, like, am I in other areas of my life, am I being committed to the right things? And that's whether it's something ministry related, whether it's something school, work related, whether it's something, a relationship. We need to really look at, okay, is God leading me in this area, or is this something that I'm trying to do in my flesh? And the reason why I wanted to hit on this before I went any further is because you can be committed to the wrong thing. It's like even with different belief systems. John 14:6 lets us know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by him. So other belief systems, if it does not have Jesus Christ, it's leading to hell. Bottom line. So people can be committed to something and giving their all to something and be wrong. With that being said, when we see God and we see that we are being committed to the right things, we're really seeking God and we're in our word and we're following what he tells us to do, and he leads us to do something, whether it's ministry related, maybe you starting an organization and maybe it's going a lot harder than you expected it to go. You're like, man, this is really hard. It's a lot of pressure on me. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. This is just kind of overbearing. This is kind of overwhelming. These types of things. It's during those times where it's important to stay committed to what God has called you to do and not to give up and to seek God for what decisions you should make. On last week's episode, I was talking about having faith, and that's an important part, even during those challenging times, to have faith and say, okay, God, I'm not sure what to do, so God, please help me to put the right team, help me to assemble the right team together to run this organization, or help me to make the right decisions, help me to use the right vendors, help me to get connected with the right type of people so that we can grow this organization, so that we can do what it is you've called us to do. If it's a ministry, if you pastor in a church, Lord, help me to be a good shepherd over this flock, Lord. Help me to make the right decisions, even with the people that are in leadership. It's important that we look at these things and we're really seeking God, and not to just give up if things get hard and say, okay, I don't think I can do this, but to rely upon Jesus and to make sure that we're seeking him in other areas of our lives as well. Friendships, relationships, these things that God has called us to. Sometimes when it's something that God has called us to do, there may be some opposition. The enemy may try to attack those things. So it's good for us to understand that there are attacks that the enemy does try to come against things. So it's important for us to work through those things and not to give up, but to battle through it and to work through it. So for instance, you can look at athletics. Sometimes a team that goes on to win a championship goes through a lot of different things before they win a championship, even that season. Sometimes they may have some difficult stretches. They may go through injuries, or they may go through some times where they lose a lot of games in a row or different things like that. But the important thing is how to respond to the challenges, because challenges are a part of life, but it's how you deal with the challenges. It's like we had an opportunity to give up or to progress and overcome it. So it's very important that we stay focused, in our walk with God, that we continue to advance and progress and not to give in, if we experience challenges, and to stay committed to everything God has called us to do. Even if we don't understand everything, even if it gets difficult, to stay committed to it and to make sure, that we operate and we're motivated by God, you know, our love for God. Our love for God, when we truly love God and we give him our all and we seek God first, we can accomplish so much. You know, sometimes in the flesh, we can want to hold on to certain things and want to have control. If God tells you to release something and give it to him, you need to release it and give it to him. You know, and so that's what we got to do, and not try to force things to happen. You know, but then at the same time, not to walk away from something if we don't like what's going on and say, you know what, I don't want to do this, so I'm just leaving it alone. No, it's important that we stay encouraged and that we stay focused on Jesus Christ. And so that's really what I wanted to hit on during this segment, is to, you know, stay committed to what God has called you to do. Don't let people discourage you. Don't discourage yourself. Don't let circumstances discourage you. Stay committed to what God has called you to do. So now I have some footage that I want to go to of Mr. Sam Tunes and myself. Some of you may remember Mr. Sam Tunes was on the show last year. He's a born-again Christian. He produces, he writes, he sings, a very talented person. We actually met up here recently. You know, he had contacted me, letting me know that he wanted to write a song together, you know, and kind of let me know about some things he had going on. And so we met up, and he actually brought a recorder with him and had a mic sitting there on the table, taking in some of the things we were talking about. And so he was cool with me having the camera going as well. So it's kind of just showing kind of what we was talking about.
I know I want everything to be played live. I want everything, you know, when we do it, I want to be able to hit the record button and have the musician play the part, you know. Okay. Or even, and I, you know, again, I haven't really looked at it too closely, but even if we went into a studio with the band and played everything completely at once. Okay. And then went back and did vocal overdubs, you know. Okay, okay. Just so that they could kind of have a vibe together. Right. You know, so it would have that kind of continuous feel about it, where, you know, because there's some, you know, some people can tell whether you did a live where people were playing together. You know, like a drummer will vibe off of the bass's energy, vice versa, you know, and that kind of thing. So I'm thinking that I might want it like that as far as the music, yeah. Okay. You know, and as far as the sounds, we might want to just kind of stick with maybe a little bit of traditional. Okay. You know, just because that's kind of something that I don't normally do. Right.
Basically, like, we want to sound like a live band so people can identify the instruments. Like, okay,
yes. Yes. Okay. And I want it to be mixed as such too. I want it to be mixed to where the setup, you can almost like you're there. So if the piano's on the mid left side, that's how I want it in the mix. The bass is over here. I don't want it up the middle. I want it where the bass is. Okay. You know, when we're recording. Right. I want to create the song with you.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I want to write. I want the lyrics and everything to be our creation. And then, by the way, for time, like, time is always something that I look at. Okay, so like, and this is kind of unrelated, but it is somewhat related. Like, if I'm going for an anthem, I'm generally going to try to stay under 4 minutes. Okay. Between maybe like 3 minutes, 20 seconds, and 4 minutes. And the reason is because if it's a song that I'm wanting to really push and that I want people to catch on to, generally people lose interest after a certain amount of time. Right. But this song isn't necessarily going for that hit quality. So, but I don't want to go over 4.5 minutes. Okay. Okay. And then I also want to put this in there. I want an instrumental bridge. Okay. Got you. So I don't want any talking in the bridge. I want everything to be completely instrumental.